Hey everybody, and welcome back. It is Michigan State week. Michigan State comes in at 3-4, and Michigan is 7-0. The game is in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and if it wasn't for Michigan State last season, Michigan would have been the 1 seed in the college football playoff and probably would have played Cincinnati. The revenge for this game is real. In the last 14 meetings, Michigan State has won 10 of those meetings, and they are 4-3 versus Jim Harbaugh. Michigan's going to be focused. Let's talk about, first, OSU fan might laugh, but they have no idea what it is to have an in-state conference rival. I was hoping that Cincinnati would join the Big Ten to give Ohio State that joy, but looks like they're headed to the Big 12 instead. That's just a shame in my opinion. But Michigan State is just not very good statistically this year. 104th in offensive yards per game out of 131 teams. They're 78th in points per game offensively. 105th in defensive yards per game given up. And 73rd in defensive points per game given up. Michigan, on the other hand, is 19th in the nation in offensive yards per game. Number 6 in the nation in points per game. Number 5 in defensive yards per game, and number 3 in defensive points per game. Peyton Thorne is 65% on the season for 214 yards per game. He has 11 touchdowns, and he has 7 interceptions. And he's been sacked 12 times. They do not have Kenneth Walker III anymore, so you can take them 5 touchdowns that he had versus Michigan out of the equation. But Jalen Berger has 80 carries on the season for 367 yards. That's good for 4.6 yards per carry, and he has 5 touchdowns. In the receiving game, Keon Coleman has 31 receptions for 393 yards and 12.7 yards per reception and 5 touchdowns. And Jaden Reed has 32 receptions for 373 yards, 11.7 yards per reception, and 3 touchdowns. This is the best team that Michigan has had probably since 1997 when they won the national championship the last time. Quarterback is probably the best it's been, maybe ever. JJ is young, but we did have Denard, and he was not the greatest at throwing darts, but the ground game was elite, of course. Ran up and down the field until people started to figure out that, well, if you just load the box, you can pretty much stop Michigan. Corum and Edwards are elite running backs in the backfield for Michigan. I think anyone who is behind this offensive line could be elite because 3 of the 5 starters from the award-winning offensive line last season are back, and the transfer from Virginia, the Remington finalist, Olu Oluwatimi, is inserted, and they're picking up right where they left off, and like I said, maybe even better than last season. Defensively, Michigan is elite as well. Teams keep trying to throw versus us because they are scared of Michigan's front 7. They can't really run the ball, so they're afraid of that pass rush, so they're trying to just dink and dunk, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly. Little do they know, the secondary for Michigan is probably the best unit on defense. DJ Turner, Jamon Green, Sainristil, Rod Moore, Makari Page, etc. are all great players on the back end. I think Michigan State will try and force JJ to throw the ball. I think they will try and limit Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards in the Michigan running attack, and that will they're going to want to force JJ, in my opinion, to try make him win the game. And I think JJ will be just happy with that. A lot of teams are playing bend but don't break versus this Michigan team, and we're just kind of grinding it down the field through the running game against teams. I think the only way Michigan State can win this game and slow down this Michigan offense is to see what JJ can do, and I'm excited. I can't wait for that. Michigan State, how are they going to move the ball? I'm really not sure. They're going to have to dig into their bag of tricks. Maybe some trick plays, maybe fake field goals here and there, catch us off guard, anything to scrape some points together. But I think it's just not going to be nearly enough. Give me Michigan at home in this revenge spot to lay it on the Spartans. I think Michigan scores, let's go 41 points. I think they'll get 41 points, and Michigan State is going to be right around 10 to 14 points, I would say. So give me 41 to 10. And also, Michigan doesn't have a defensive touchdown yet, which is pretty surprising. They've had plenty of drop pick sixes. Odds are it is coming, and I think it could happen in this game versus Peyton Thorne. So there you have it, 41 to 14. Michigan wins in the Big House, and they move on to 8-0. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and remember to like the video, share, subscribe if you have not, and hit the bell for notification. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.